Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We've got Whiteboard is back up because, believe it or not, I know the North American 3 event has not started yet, but there's already moves happening for this offseason. It's not really an offseason, it's actually a transfer window, so I already misspoke. But we've got the whiteboard filled out. I didn't draw the logos this time, and I thought about it after I wrote all this down, that I didn't draw all the logos. I think what I'm going to do for the transfer window is basically non-consistent videos. This will always come out at noon like they normally do, but then anytime that I can fill up this whiteboard, I'll record and I'll run with it. And I'll basically do that from now until the transfer window closes on like April 14th. Obviously, not as many days are going to be as busy as the few days after the European event. I'm assuming I'm going to do one of these next week after North America ends as well. But essentially, I'll go through, I'll do all these, I'll update it more timeline-wise rather than, team-wise, because with the logos, I had to do like multiple days worth of coverage under one thing. And so I'll do it based more timeline. You'll be able to see how things progress as you watch this series of videos. And then at the end, I'll do a whiteboard where I draw all the logos and say this is exactly how everything went down during the transfer window. So yeah, without explaining my process too much more, let's go ahead and start. February 17th, this was well over a week ago at this point. You had Selecao split up. This was Rust Easy 95, Mayko, and Ever. These guys made the first European event and couldn't make another event afterwards. They bombed out, didn't make the Swiss stage of the second event, and then in the third event, they made the Swiss stage, beat Vitality in that opening matchup, took Ninjas in Pajamas to Game 5, but lost there, and then crashed out 1 and 3. So a lot of people are hyped about Rust Easy 95, a lot of hype around him. Mayko and Ever, also both French, you know what that means with this esport. All of them are looking for a new team heading into the second split. Wait 4 days, February 21st. This was the 21st on Friday? I think it was on Friday. So this was basically right after the event ended. RRG decided to split up. You got tweets from Rysfox, Rizex, and Gawfs all announcing that they're looking for a team for the second split. These guys made all 3 of the European Opens. They made top 8 in the first one. Then they bounced top 16 in both of the other 2. So all of them looking for a new team. That's going to be a pretty common theme. Because February 22nd, the Saturday, Ascend. This team won over a lot of people during the first split. They've got Nico, Matt, and Giuk. These guys made a top 8 in the second Open, made 9th through 12th in the other 2. They took down Gentlemates twice this season so far, but they are all looking for team. So there's a lot of hype around Nico specifically. A lot of people like his passion for the game, like his grind, and are curious to see where he ends up. So he's one to keep an eye on. February 23rd. This was Championship Sunday in Europe, but we didn't get any moves out of Europe. Actually, what this also was the Swiss stage of North American Open 3. And so we got 2 big news coming out of North America. The first one being Wondamike. When it comes to this board, I only want to cover like teams that made the top 16s in their, in North America and Europe. I'm not going to cover every team that made like top 16 in APAC because they're making changes every single event. But I'll cover like the big hitters from the regions outside of North America and Europe, and then I think the boundary that I'm going to set is that you have to have made a top 16 in the split for you to be put up here. Like Selecao makes the cut, but a team like WebTub Pub does not. I'm assuming they're all going to split up as well. I think I've seen that. But I will cover Wondamike because he had a pretty long career in the RLCS. He had a lot of hype in the 2020 offseason in between Season 9 and Season X. He was a player that was originally going to come in. Charlotte Phoenix had that roster of Karma, Shadow, and Turinturo, and then Turinturo got picked up by Rogue in First Killer. And in his place, in Turinturo's place, in comes Wondamike. And this is when Wondamike himself actually really started to win me over because I was a pretty big fan of Turinturo on Charlotte Phoenix. This is like really deep cut lore for the RLCS. This is way back. But I was a fan of Charlotte Phoenix and specifically Turinturo. I thought that dude could ball. Obviously, First Killer did too, and they won some regionals. But when Wondamike stepped in for Charlotte Phoenix, at least, losing your star player, you assume a team's going to take a step back, but it didn't really feel like Charlotte Phoenix did that at all. It was, oh my gosh, Wondamike is also really good at the game. He ends up getting picked up by United with Hoxer and Ajax. That doesn't exactly go swimmingly, but he had some pretty good results in the RLCS. Long-time career, finally ends up retiring now. I do want to highlight this because he did eliminate Team Evo from the major race. He went down to the 1-2 match in Swiss, where they end up drawing the Team Evo roster of Speed, Relating Wave, and Arju, and they actually just eliminate them from the event. So Team Evo went 1-3 in the Swiss. They had 10 points. They were only 2 points back from the major spot. This eliminates them entirely from the major race because they can't earn any more points to split. Unfortunately for WubTubPub, they run into the other team with 10 points in round 5, that being Space Station, and Space Station takes care of business. So they couldn't take out 2 major teams on the way out, but Wondamike was able to take out Team Evo on his way to retirement. So congratulations to him. Very solid career. The other one that people will be focused on a lot more, though, is JKnaps. He is planning on retiring after Open 3. So he tweeted this after Pioneers completed their 3-1 run through Swiss. They qualified for the main event, and JKnaps is like, yep, this event is going to be my last. So Pioneers, I think they have Gen G in their opening match. From there, they'll face the loser of Complexity and Lotus 8. Yeah, I don't know why I'm blanking. They scar me. But they should be able to take down Lotus 8, hopefully for JKnaps' sake. I think Group A is a little bit easier than Group B this regional. So there's a solid chance that Pioneers actually could, they pull off one upset and they're into the top 8. And I think that'd be beautiful to see JKnaps in the, on the main broadcast for his last event. If you watch my predictions, you'll have seen that. But yeah, this will be JKnaps' last event. I know his career doesn't need to be undersold at all. 2 Worlds finals, won a major with G2, playing since Season 3. I mean, this guy is an inspiration of the game. Really, really solid career. So hopefully he gets a very proper send-off come this weekend. And then February 24th, Tuesday, this is where a lot of things went down, just kind of across the entire scene. This was Tuesday. No, this was Monday. I can add. The first one being that Fast Forward have split up. This was a roster of Mikeboy, Compact, and Ejby. They took down Vitality in the first Swiss series of the season, basically, which was a big surprise. Vitality would go 3-1 through the Swiss. Fast Forward would fail to qualify out of the Swiss. They made it through to the next 2 events, but I think they went 0-2 in both of those. So all 3 of them looking for new opportunities heading into the next season. Next one is Caliente, another team that made several European events. These guys made all 3 of them. I believe they got 9th through 12th in all of them. This is Growlii, Saizen, and Kaydop. Growlii and Saizen have put out looking for team tweets. Kaydop has not. I'm not sure if this is because Kaydop just isn't on Twitter or if there's something else up there. If I'm being honest, I'm assuming it's not on Twitter. If Kaydop wants to find a team, he's going to find a team, truthfully. So, yeah, don't be too worried about any Kaydop retirement just yet. But I'm not going to lie and say that he's put out a LFT tweet when he is not. So, the next one, I'll follow up a little bit on Selecao because we've got Rust Easy 95 and Mozzarella. These guys are duoing and looking for one. With the hype being around Rust Easy 95, I figured I'd highlight this duo and say, yeah, they're looking for a squad. And, this is a team that could very much be making top 16s in Europe. Startpoint. This one's not just we're disbanding and looking for a team, but the way they phrase it is they are all exploring their options and they're not guaranteed to split. All 3 of them had tweeted this out. So essentially, when you're not signed, when there's other opportunities, you're going to explore your options during the transfer window. I think a major reason for this is you take a player like Eugen. The Startpoint roster is a chronic Matan and Eugen. You take a player like Eugen. He's French. There's a lot of hype around him. And JKnaps have underperformed this first split. And a lot of people, both casters, fans, etc., a lot of people are seeing that and being like, maybe Eugen goes to JKnaps. So it doesn't surprise me that at least Eugen would be exploring his options. I also think a chronic is still pretty underrated. He's got a lot of experience and still can compete at a pretty solid level. So I think he's up there as well. Matan's also been very consistent. If you want more gassing up of Matan, go watch Belair. He seems to be very high on that guy. I haven't studied his film enough, but I know he's been around for a solid amount of time. And if you're still making multiple top 8s, you've got something behind you. So they're not guaranteed to split up. It wouldn't surprise me if one of them gets poached. Other than that, I kind of assume you'll stick at 2/3 and then maybe grab another up-and-coming player. So that's just all theory crafting, but a lot of people are wondering about that Eugen to JKnaps move. I'll definitely be talking more about JKnaps and Eugen in future videos for this transfer window. I mean, we don't know anything about JKnaps yet, but we're assuming. On to APAC. This roster overlooked. They signed the 0-sec or 90+7 roster of Kevin, Durku, and I cannot believe I'm blanking on who. Oh, Kevin, Durku, and Breezy. I'm sorry, Breezy. He made a flick. But it appears that they're splitting up. Durku has tweeted out that he's looking for a team in Europe. He is English. he was, going to APAC. I don't know if he played from APAC or played from England, but he did play for 0sec or 90+7 or Overlooked for the first part of the season. He's looking for a team in Europe, so it looks like he might be trying to compete in his native region. Kevin, this guy's from Luminosity last year. You'll probably know him from the whole I'm Kevin thing. So, not Luminosity, sorry, Elevate. I can't talk. But Kevin is looking for team as well. He's put that out there. Haven't heard anything from Breezy, to my knowledge, but it looks like the roster is splitting up. These guys were expected to be pretty good in APAC, around like that 4, 5, 6 range. But in the last event, they ended up getting bounced pretty early. They took an upset to, I believe, Senza Esports, which isn't like a bad team in APAC, but definitely a team you would still expect Overlooked to beat. They got upset by Senza in round 1, and then they dropped down to face Kinotrope, which is much more of a difficult matchup. Kinotrope is that Realize team with Furlash and Lunatic. So, yeah, looks like these guys are going to be exploring their options heading into the second split. And then the last one I have on here is a North American team. Revelation, you probably won't know them by Revelation unless you really follow the Swiss in depth. They were known as Almost Nuts for the first event, and this is the only event that they made this split. This is Repeat, Skippy, and T-Corel. We've seen tweets from Repeat and Skippy announcing that they're both looking for a team. Have not seen the same from T-Corel. Again, this could just be an instance of not being on Twitter, or it could be something else. I'm not sure. But at least Repeat and Skippy have announced that they are looking for new opportunities, so this team does appear to be splitting up. Other than that, that was a lot of words to describe like maybe 10 roster moves. So if you guys listen to all this, I appreciate that. Is it 11? It's 11. It's 11 roster moves. But yeah, this is how we're going to go through this offseason, or this transfer window. I'm sure I'm going to start this board with anything that happens, in the following week. And we're really just flying by the seat of our pants here, because I'm not going to schedule these for every Sunday. I don't think there's going to be guaranteed to be enough news every single Sunday. I'm assuming there's going to be a video after the North American event ends, and then probably a little bit stalled out until we fill up this whiteboard again. And then as we get closer and closer to the major, we'll have more of these videos for sure. So transfer window officially opens on April 1st. Doesn't really matter for these teams, because if you're eliminated from major contention, you can at least start talking about moves and then say officially we changed teams in the transfer window. So yeah, with all that said, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.